3, 2, 1. Countdown and everything. Nice.
Nice job. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Robinson, and this is the Life on Life's Terms podcast once again. And like I always say, we're not affiliated with any 12-step program.
My name is Chris Mandeville, and we're here at a New Way Recovery Center in Quincy, Mass. on Quincy Ave. Lots of resources here. If you're in treatment or in the area, you can come here and use computers and check emails.
And it smells like chicken nuggets in here right now.
Oh, they got barbecue chicken out there because
Yeah.
there's a women's meeting tonight, so they cook.
Amazing.
And if you could, it would be awesome to subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play. It's the Life on Life's Terms podcast. Join the Facebook group if you haven't already.
Yes,
and rate us 5 stars.
Yes.
If you want, if you think we deserve
Yes.
it.
Go to the website, LOLTerms.com. You can subscribe right there. There's a subscribe button. That
Excellent.
would be fantastic.
And tonight we have Amanda.
Woo! Hey,
Who's
this
gonna
is
share
Amanda
with us?
Loring. I'm so excited to be here on this super cool podcast with all these super cool microphones.
Yeah.
Can't wait to talk into it a lot.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're a professional or something.
Yeah, this is Amanda. I heard something today that was like your NPR name is like your favorite pattern, followed by the last name of like your favorite dead singer. So I would be Solid Bowie.
Solid Bowie.
Solid Bowie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
NPR name.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your favorite pattern and your favorite dead singer?
My favorite pattern?
Yeah.
It's got to be plaid, right? I guess plaid. Yeah, I like plaid.
Yeah.
And your favorite singer?
Merchant.
Plaid merchant over here to my right.
I think I would go. I think I would go with Paisley.
Nice.
Wow.
And
That's bold. That's a bold choice.
It is.
who's the one that just passed away
Which one didn't
don't
from
know.
Soundgarden?
Oh,
Cornell.
Yes.
Chris Cornell.
Paisley,
Paisley
Cornell.
Cornell.
Oh, see you guys. I love our personas already.
Okay, so
So Amanda comes from Megan Perry, who we had on the show before. She's going to be helping us out with some guests. She's
shout out to Megan.
She's a storytelling teacher.
She's
Yes.
amazing. She's amazing.
She teaches you how to tell stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she did.
I thought I told stories pretty good.
Yeah,
You
are
know?
you taking her class?
I was full of shit like a Christmas turkey.
Yeah,
I told lots of
we all
stories.
suck at them, but we just like we're not used to looking into the eyes of the people who are getting bored as we talk.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
And but also some of the stuff I would talk about, people would be like, whoa.
yeah,
you know?
so there's enough interest in the shock value, but Megan teaches you to like craft it into something interesting for anybody. She helps you like refine your message. She's really good.
Yeah, I need that, I
Nice.
think.
Yeah, I learned a lot from her.
I think I'd like to check it out. But
Yeah, definitely
Totally
take that
worth it.
class.
Well, so I took that class, and then I had the guts to go to they have these story slams. It's a really popular art form. People meet up and they have these story
it's like
slams.
spoken word, pretty much.
Kinda. It's
But like
kinda
2.0
that.
or something.
Yeah, but like not quite as like skitty bop,
Yeah.
like a spoken word. But
Yeah,
like
right.
like you get
Yeah.
people like you, and I mean people love you if you like sound local. If you're like, hey, I got this story to tell, like it doesn't
Yeah,
even
it's wicked piss up.
Yeah, exactly. People love that. And then
parking
like
ticket for drinking beer in the car.
perfect.
Yeah.
Go on. So they have themes, and so I took Megan's class. I had the guts to go to a storytelling event. I won. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I winned.
That's
and then
awesome.
and then I advanced, and then I advanced again, and I won a competition, and I got a prize.
Oh,
That's cool.
I did have to email them to ask for my prize, though.
It wasn't one of those things where everybody gets a prize, right?
No, it wasn't, you guys.
Participation trophy.
Yes.
Yes.
That ruined everything.
Participation
Yeah.
trophies, of course. Like sports aren't about feeling good about yourself.
No,
you know?
if you suck, you suck.
Yeah, they're about hard lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to be yelled at and
Yeah, shamed publicly about masculinity. So I'm here today because I'm a woman in recovery, and I like to say I'm a woman in long-term recovery because I'm over 3 years. So for me, that's really long.
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
spent the 19 years before pretty solidly
in addiction.
Not sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like one of those addicts who was like, well, it's fine because I just smoke weed like 10 times a day, and that's not a drug. So that's like a
really?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
I remember weed.
I remember weed. No, it wasn't the time I was in tournament with you. It was the next time I was in, and there was a guy there who was there because he smoked weed too much, and nobody really believed him.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
They were
No,
like,
people
"Oh, yeah."
laugh at that.
Right.
You know what
But
I mean? But
Listen, I know
if you're fixing
lots of
feelings,
people that if they did not have their weed, they were mizzy.
Oh yeah.
right?
They were
Busy.
wicked mizzy.
If you're fixing feelings with
Yeah.
a chemical,
Listen,
Yes.
Then you
heroin
might
to Haagen-Dazs,
have
it doesn't
a problem.
matter, dude. I can
Yes.
I can stuff feelings with some chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in
You
that
know?
one too, you
Black
guys. I'm not
raspberry
gonna
with
lie.
chocolate
sauce.
I've
Yeah.
got some issues
You know,
with
it's like,
sugar.
it's only a half a pint
Yeah,
or a
it's-
pint, whatever. It's like, I'll save some. It's like, that's not really worth saving.
Yeah.
And it's so melty now that if I do save it, it's not going to look good when I open it
It's
again.
just a drink at this point.
Just
Finish
yes.
it.
Yeah. It's a
Finish
shake
it.
now. It's a shake. Give me a
Yeah.
straw.
I mean, a spiritually vacant life is a spiritually vacant life. And what
Yes.
happened to me was I
there
thought I
you
had
go.
everything. I was married. I loved my husband. I had a child that I'd wanted for so long. I had a career that I loved. And I was like, why am I not happy? I kept going back to the doctor. The doctor kept giving me more drugs,
Yeah.
including drugs I should not have been taking, like amphetamines. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you seem like you have a
Oh.
problem focusing. Would you like some amphetamines?
Here's some Adderall. Here's some Ritalin.
Absolutely. I'd love
That'll
some
help you
amphetamines.
focus.
They
Yeah.
push that stuff so much.
It's shocking.
I had a good friend of mine who lived with me in Seattle, and he was a mediocre pool player, but he would go out and hustle people when he did crystal.
Yeah.
He was focused.
Yeah,
you know what I
you
mean?
Find
I mean,
some
real
talents, I guess.
focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw some honesty out there. That, what you just
Throw
spoke
it.
about,
Yeah.
has completely affected my life.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
That's my little girl that's sitting out there.
Yeah.
That's how I got custody of her.
Yeah.
Because her mother was in long-term recovery,
Yeah.
thought she could drink again,
Yeah.
and then went to the doctor, and boom.
Yeah.
I see.
No longer in long-term recovery. you
Oh
know?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it took me like probably 8 months of being like sober before I could be like, you know what, I really don't need these prescribed medications. Like, I really don't need these. Like, I held on to it because I was like, I can't give up everything. But I realized, like, I actually don't even need my antidepressants. And I mean, I think they're great, for people who do need them. But,
Right. Right.
I just had never tried not being high all the time.
And-
so,
Like,
Right.
I'm not against.
That's
I'm
right.
not a person who's against medication
no,
by any
it's
means.
great for the people who need it.
If there is a lengthy diagnosis,
Absolutely.
Right.
you can't walk in and diagnose someone in 12 minutes.
Especially if
How can you do that?
Yeah.
especially if they've been, already pilled up.
Yeah.
So pilled up.
Like,
that,
was getting it on the street. Now I'm going to get this so that I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, so like when I walked through the door at my prescriber, I was like, oh, I'm smoking weed all the time, and I'm really depressed. And she was like, oh, you probably need some antidepressants, and you're probably smoking weed because you need dopamine. So here's some Adderall. And of course I took that. I was like, this is great, but I kept coming back, more depressed, getting more antidepressants. Then she put me on 2 antidepressants. Then the combination of all those drugs, like I went pretty crazy, you guys.
Yeah.
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 It's supposed to help you mentally, and
Oh,
it makes
I was
you
crazier
worse.
than I've ever been. I mean,
Yeah.
the Facebook posts alone are. They're
Really?
so
Can we go back through and
Sure.
find them?
Well, I did delete them, but nothing ever
Oh.
disappears from the internet.
No, it doesn't.
Suffice it to say,
That
like a
is true.
sober person in their right mind, who's happy, joyous, and free, does not post a picture of themselves crying next to like an apology to their little brother.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, my husband was like, please stop this. And like, you don't understand. Like, I'm fixing my life. But like therapy without sobriety is kind of pointless and dangerous too.
Yeah.
I agree. And I've been through a lot of therapy, having gone through umpteen million programs, and it doesn't help you as much as it could if you're not in the right mind.
Totally.
If you're not working on yourself and you're not honest and sober, it's not going to help you. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree, because you're never really going to try anything new. Like if you're still, using substances to like calm down or, deal with your intense feelings or whatever, your conflicts in life, then you're not trying anything new. And that's what you got to be doing, is trying something new.
Right. Well, dealing with the feelings is an important point.
Yeah.
Because you can't learn how to deal with feelings if you're always stuffing them down.
No,
Right.
you absolutely can't. There's so many great memes about being an addict who hates their feelings. Like me, an addict, has a feeling. Who in the fuck authorized this? We want to control them all. But the combination of therapy and recovery for me has been amazing. Like really transformative.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like together, because
Right.
that combination of stuff. I couldn't have done without the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't have done without the meetings.
Well, I had to go to 9 months of intense program away from society. Well, not completely for the whole 9 months, but in-house. And then I had to use meetings after that to help me through. I mean, meetings are fantastic, It's the fellowship and the program.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a fantastic combination. But I really didn't go to too much therapy after I was out of the program. I mean, a little bit. At the program coming
Well, I guess
back.
9 months of intensive is pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty comprehensive.
It was so life transforming,
Yeah.
It was awesome, and I had great friends in early sobriety, and I remember it just as being, the time of my life, unforgettable,
So before
Fantastic.
that, did you feel pretty alone most of the time? Like, were you one of those people who felt like even if you had
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of friends, you felt super alone, just fundamentally?
Oh yeah, well I
me too.
isolated myself.
Yeah.
Because my friends originally, when I was just smoking and drinking and partying, none of them got into serious hard drugs, so I kind of left all them behind.
Yeah, I was always the worst of my bunch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like I always had friends who'd be like, "You can't smoke crack recreationally, Amanda." I'd be like, "You guys don't understand. It's just a party drug.
It's a party drug.
Party drug that is gonna ruin my life in 3 months."
Sorry about that.
No problem.
And we're back.
Fatherhood called.
It always does, and you answered.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a plan once that I was only going to smoke crack. That's it. Nothing else. Just crack.
That's such a great plan.
Yeah, I tried that.
Sane and happy, useful plan.
Yeah.
And then when I smoked too much crack, I needed something to come down.
There's that. Then that
Exactly.
happens.
Exactly. Auditory hallucinations.
Yes.
Ugh,
Yeah.
gross.
So I stopped doing all hard drugs long before I stopped smoking weed. And by smoking weed, I also mean like ingesting such intensely potent edibles that most people would like not be able to handle them. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
because
I
nowadays, like the cannabis is strong.
Oh,
You get your concentrates in your vapes, and
Yep.
like what the high you're having is way different than what
the backyard boogie that I used to smoke.
Yeah,
Downtown
right.
Brown. You know?
Downtown Brown.
We every once in a while you come across some, we called it kind bud,
Yeah.
and it would come in a mason jar, and like that was special
Well,
stuff.
that's what happened when I moved to Seattle. It was like there was nothing but this incredibly potent weed. And It
Yeah.
was like, geez, you can't even smoke a joint of this stuff.
No,
Like,
you can't, because
get
it goes
wrecked.
out after every single
Yeah,
puff.
It's like
So
you take
take
2 hits
that.
and it's like, oh, it's over? Huh.
Yeah.
I'm high. I'm really high, but I don't know. I kind of miss smoking a whole joint. And enjoying the flavor
I
and the
miss
taste,
hurting my lungs. No,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that feeling. Like after I stopped smoking weed, I like craved cigarettes. I wasn't a cigarette smoker at all, but I craved them because I just missed smoking. You
Yeah.
really get into the habit.
Yep.
Yeah. missed
That's why I'm a vapor.
it. Yeah.
No more
Vapes.
cigarettes, but
I
Vape.
quit
Better
at,
than cigarettes.
I quit at the age of 24 smoking cigarettes, but I wouldn't advise doing it the way I did.
Oh, how did you do it?
I started injecting heroin.
oh yeah, that no.
And I was like,
Not a recommended.
Yes.
like really when I
The
started.
new Nicoderm CQ,
when
10 cc's.
When I started dabbling in dope, I had been wanting to quit smoking cigarettes. So I was like, I was quitting smoking, but I was doing dope.
Yeah,
It worked.
yeah, because you would nod
I
it out
wouldn't
all the
advise
time
it.
and never had a cigarette.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
it does-
that was your path.
Yeah,
Tom.
that was my
your
path.
path.
So now, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Sharon, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Dry
sure.
town, right?
It's a dry town, but Oh
Not-
my God! Everybody and their mother smokes weed.
Yes, they have.
Everyone.
I think they actually have a dispensary there.
If they don't now, they will soon. If you look on like Urban Dictionary at Sharon, they're like Sharon is a town that's predominantly Jewish and pot smoking. And
Yeah.
that was my family. Yeah, like my whole family smoked weed, so I was like, this is fine to do. Saw a lot of my parents smoking weed. I mean, it was just, it was normalized.
Yeah.
So I was like, this
Yeah.
isn't really a drug. So even though I would do harder drugs, and then I would, really screw myself up with those, and I would stop, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna smoke weed, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I probably could have continued to get away with it if I hadn't had a kid. But when
Oh, yeah?
True.
Yeah, I could have, because I
Well-
was functional.
Yeah, but would it really be getting away with it? I think you're don't you enjoy not having to have that every day, 10 times a day? Isn't it?
What I really enjoy
better?
is not being horrifyingly depressed to the point of thinking that like it would be better to be dead. I really enjoy that. Like, yeah, because that's
bad.
that's where I ended up. And like the slow shame of being addicted to something, like you might think you're fine, or at least I thought I was. I was like, I'm handling this. Look at my life. I was always like a look at my life. Like I have this
Oh, yeah.
accomplishment, and I
Yes,
have
yeah.
that relationship, and I have this thing over here.
Look
so
at all
I'm
the
fine.
stuff on paper.
So-
I look great.
Exactly.
So you think that the smoking of the weed brought you to that point, to that jumping off point,
Yeah,
that depression
definitely.
point?
Definitely. I got so much more self-confidence when I stopped. And like, I still have a lot of unresolved emotional issues because, when you start smoking weed when you're 13, you don't really grow up past 13. So
Yeah.
I had to do all that when I was 33.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was taught was when you're a daily abuser of something that takes away your need to deal with the feelings, you never learn to deal with the feelings. So
I
Right.
absolutely didn't.
basically as old emotionally as you were when you started using daily because you
Yep.
never really,
I totally relate to that. You guys relate to that?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
I was like a 13-year-old when I came in here.
And how old are you now? Like 16?
Maybe 17.
I'm approaching 17 or
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can grow up fast, because once you are an adult, you get to make all the adult choices every day if you want.
Yeah,
So
if you want.
thank God, the
Yeah.
God I don't believe in. Thank God for that. That was one of the hardest things for me about recovery. I walked in, I was like, I'm an atheist. And what I meant by that was like, I'm better than you if you believe in God. So I really had to learn to like let go of everything that I believed. And it was a huge relief when I did that.
Yeah.
It was huge, yeah, because I was like, I really don't know what I believe, but like I'm gonna just go with these beliefs for a while, and they helped me. So I'm like, I tell new people that all the time. I'm like, you don't have to believe, you just have to do the thing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Just believe I believe.
Right, that's the
You
thing.
know.
Yeah, that's the saying. Believe that I believe.
Well, you'll find something too.
If you don't have a higher power, use mine for a while.
You'll find something.
Yeah,
You'll
absolutely.
find something. You'll find an energy. You'll name it whatever you're comfortable naming it. And you'll find a thing. I think everyone does. The ones who stick around.
Yeah. and that's the thing too. Like not many people stick around.
Yeah. You can't make people want something they don't want, right? That's like a fundamental boundary problem, right?
Yep. You can't force people into sobriety. You can't get anyone high. You can't get anyone sober.
Right.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
The odds back in the day were a lot greater than they are now. Granted, there is a lot more of us now than there was back then. But this is why all these celebrities that are on TV and they say that they're in this program and that program and then, Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
She relapses, and there's so many people out there that do that every day, but everyone was like, oh, poor Demi, poor Demi. What about the thousands of other people
Sure.
that, or the people that died, the ones that didn't come back, the ones that weren't revived with Narcan, There's, I'm sure there's a lot more people that relapsed that day than just Demi Lovato.
Sure, but we love celebrities.
Yeah.
On the outside, people think that it's all about chasing a buzz,
Yeah, they have
But-
no idea.
but it's really about chasing away the feelings,
Yeah.
trying to feel like you're okay and you belong.
Absolutely. So that's like the first, like I remember I smoked weed the first time I didn't get high. The first time I did get high, it was a magical night. And I remember that feeling of, oh my God, I'm so funny. People like me. I'm not alone. This is the most important thing. Like I remember that this is the most, whatever you got to do, you get this.
Right. Right.
You know, like you get back to this. You can get here again. And I remember that, you know, like getting that feeling of belonging without it is more work. But like then you get like real fulfillment though.
Right. But it provided a release from the feeling of awkwardness or the
definitely
feeling of worry that you're not accepted or your identity that you've grasped onto isn't being received well or you know whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. It's so tough to be a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it really
like that
is.
we say
Tough.
we've talked about it on almost every one of these, like puberty.
Oh,
it's the worst time
ever.
Life
It's awful.
ever.
Yeah.
Like
It's awful.
so awkward.
Yeah, you
You
should
know?
just work on a farm, like at that time in your life. Like
There are psychologists who believe that kids at the age of 13 and 14 shouldn't even be in school.
I kind of think that's true for so many of us. A lot of us get away with it, but like the social pressure, just everyone crowded together like that. Like
They call it the second identity crisis.
Yeah.
And
when's
there's
the first identity crisis?
it's when you're like 2.
Oh, you're like you realize you're not your mother or something.
Right, yeah, you're like you're forming out, you know, I'm me and these are my boundaries. And
Sure, that's when you
all
start
that
saying
stuff.
no because you're like, not you. I'm
Right.
okay.
So they call it the second identity crisis because you're like, well, who am I? You know, what am I going to gravitate towards? What type of person am I? And like, I remember it so vividly being like, you know, people are telling me that I'm like Mr. Nice Guy and I don't swear enough or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I remember like consciously being like, all right, I have to swear more.
Yes.
You know what
I so relate to this story. Yeah,
Yep.
so like I switched schools. I went to a private school and I wasn't thriving there. So I switched schools in 6th grade and I was like, this is my last chance, you know, because you know, I was 12 years old, so I figured that was my last chance. I'm going to do well now. And so I like
ripe old age
threw
of
my
12.
whole life into getting good grades. I raised my hand all the time. And so everyone was like, oh, you're a nerd. You're in the nerd herd. And I wanted to get out of the nerd herd. So when I was in 9th grade, I started smoking. I was like, well, this is my exit strategy.
Yeah.
That's
Get
right.
into another type of herd.
Right, you're in the smokers herd. You're one of those people who smoke.
Yeah, varsity smoking.
Like
That was my joke.
for me, when I went into high school, I had made some bad choices at the age of 13, and
Like
I
one
ended
or
up
two?
fathering a child
Okay.
at 13. So it was like I go into high school freshman year,
Wow.
and everyone's like, "Yo, you got a kid?" And I'm like, "How do I answer this?"
How do you answer? How did you answer that?
Yes. Really, dude, hit this, and they'd give me a pipe or a joint, or you know, and it was like
Whoa.
that was my rite of passage, you know.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Had no idea what I was doing, obviously,
Yeah.
if I got her pregnant.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Well, of course.
But
yeah.
all, and it's funny because I
Wow.
remember saying
You're kid.
I wasn't a morning
You're
drinker.
13 years older than.
I was delivering papers. Say,
Wow.
I was never a morning drinker. No, I was.
It's funny how we're really delusional about what we do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
I was
I mean-
I'm not an addict. I can't leave the house without some weed on me, but I'm not like an addict, you guys.
Yeah. So
I wake up in the
mean,
middle of the night and smoke, but I'm not like addicted.
to touch back on that story, the kid was given up for adoption. So,
Good.
and to my knowledge, has had a good life.
Yeah.
Well, so you know, my thing that I remember, I had very little identity that I could really grab onto until a friend of mine put some headphones on me, and it was "Do the Bee" by Husker Du. It was a punk rock song,
Yeah.
and I was like, I remember listening to it, like, my eyes wide. Wow, this is who I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music is really powerful.
It
for you,
definitely
right?
is.
Yeah.
It's helped me through so much. And it's made things worse, too.
Sure, sure.
You know, it depends on what I put on.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I chased the whole dream of music for a lot of years.
Do you play music?
I used to. When I got sober, I basically stopped. But I had stopped a little bit a few years
What'd you
before
play?
that. I used to play bass to begin with.
Nice.
Well, singing to begin with, then bass, then 6-string guitar a little bit.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. I had a lot of fun with it, but I never went anywhere with it. And I was always trying to get serious. And, you know, it was always about drinking. And when we were getting serious, and there was a night when we wouldn't drink, after every song, everybody would look back on their amp and grab for the beer that wasn't there. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
You might have a problem if.
So it's really hard to put out art sober, because you know we all have that strong inner critic. But do you know about the program The Artist's Way?
It sounds.
Is that out of
familiar.
L.A.?
Oh, well, it's big in LA, but like it's big everywhere. It's really popular. So this woman who was like a screenwriter in Hollywood, she got sober and found herself blocked as a writer, and went through this whole process where she got up every morning and she wrote 3 pages longhand every morning before she did anything else. And then she created like this program of recovery for blocked artists.
Really?
And her idea is that like in many of us, there's an artist, and like if you don't like connect with that and learn how to express it, like you're gonna kill someone. Like,
I know quite a few musicians who thought that they couldn't write if they weren't getting high.
Yeah, so many of us think that.
And because of that's just how the music business is, people get fucked up.
Oh yeah, look what happened
That
to Amy
to
Winehouse.
be sober
Yeah.
in that environment is fucking extremely difficult.
They don't care. You know, they don't care if you're healthy. They just want you to be putting shit out.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
you could be,
Right.
you could, and I seen it. I've seen it at friggin' the Middle East. Like someone I know, who's awesome musician, sober. Like people will just walk up to him, here.
Oh yeah.
You
they
know,
give
and it's
you a
like,
That's what
hug.
happened. That's what happened to me. We were playing. There was this old school bus without the seats in it, and it was like no tires, all painted weird colors. And we were we were playing in there.
No
The
tires.
band was playing in there, and
Awesome.
somebody came in and just handed out dope.
That was your venue. Of course, someone came and handed out
Yes.
dope
Handed
inside
out-
the bus with no tires.
Handed out heroin, and we all snorted it.
Oh.
We all snorted it,
Oh,
and
that
I
dope.
remember we used to switch instruments, you know, because we were just playing around and whatever. And I was playing the drums, and I remember thinking, "Oh, it's so cool! I can go to sleep for a minute, and the drum beat continues on, and I wake up and I just keep playing, and I don't miss." And it was just like, you know,
Like,
it
you
was
think
on
that
from
was
there.
really
It
what
like
was
a-
happening?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was, because I was
You
nodding
sure
out.
it didn't stop and then you just came out of your nod and was like right back at it?
No, people would have stopped playing because we weren't playing in for an audience. We were just jamming. You know?
Yeah, right.
And
right.
so we were just playing, and yeah, I could nod out and continue to play while I was like nodding out. You know
That's
what I mean?
crazy.
And I thought
Yeah.
that was like the greatest thing. And then some good friend of mine who's passed away from this disease was there, and he was like, "That was great. Yeah, we got to call." I have a friend. He went to Guitar Institute of Technology, and his friend came out with a mouthful of balloons full of black tar heroin. Like a week later, and we did it again. Oh, this is great. We got to get a connect.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. So
Yep.
yeah.
So it's that feeling of mastery, right? So like there's 2 ways to get there. Herbie Hancock wrote a whole book about it. You can either like take drugs and that's your shortcut and then crash, or you can learn how to meditate for many, many, many years. But like there is that path, you know, to
Learn how to meditate for creativity.
yeah. So Herbie Hancock, you know, he's like a great improviser. That's like his thing.
He was the
And
shit back in the day too.
He still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's alive and well. And
Yeah.
he's like, I read his book when I was in early recovery. He talked about chanting. And back then I was pretty angry at some people, like my parents and other people who were people who loved me and just did the best they could. But I was angry because I felt, you know, I needed to blame others for my problems. And I actually started chanting for their happiness. And I was like, this isn't going to work. I'm going to do it to show that it doesn't work. But it worked. So yeah, he does that. He does like a lot of like chanting and heavy meditation, because it's about getting your mind into that place where you're like really in the moment. You're not evaluating yourself, which is so hard to do, right?
Yeah.
It's like almost impossible to do that.
Not evaluating yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's something that I learned about in my mindfulness training with Mikey Givoni, who was on this podcast too, and he was saying that, like, you know, just be non-judgmental. just and you don't have to identify as your thoughts. You know, you just let the thoughts come in, the thoughts happen, but that's not you. You're the observer. Of
But
the
that's
thoughts.
a practice. That takes.
That's a practice,
Right.
And,
That
and when
takes
you're in it,
some
when you're
time.
in that practice, it's like blissful. It's fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
being in the moment and not being defined by the past and the future, and not being defined by random thoughts that pop up.
Yeah.
Just observing the thoughts, letting them run their course, and letting them go. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's, you know,
And it's not easy to do, you know, especially if you're trying to do something from that space. Like, you know, a lot of us meditate so we can get to a place where we're like quiet, and when our thoughts come, we release them and we're just in the moment. But then try to do something from that space, you know, like now I'm going to play piano, you know, like now I'm going to write jokes. Like, oh,
Yeah,
well, that's
I know.
then the mind turns back on. And
Yep.
right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to try and stay in that state
it's hard.
and be creative.
Yeah.
Oh, as soon as the meditation's over, the friggin' monkeys are jumping around
Yeah.
again.
Well, here's the thing.
You know, for me,
the monkeys are
anyways.
okay. That's what
Right.
he's saying, and I
Yeah.
would do it like, you know, I find myself doing it a lot for some reason, standing in line at coffee shops. I'm addicted to coffee. What are you gonna do?
Me too. It's okay.
So,
Yeah.
it's okay, right?
so just to be present, and so you put your attention on that, and so that you're not in this little fantasy world that we live in inside of our heads
Sure.
in the moment. You know.
If they have that as like people have like really severe problems dissociating. They have that as like as a therapy. I forget what it's called, but you all probably know people who've done this.
EMDR, is that what you're talking about?
No, it's something else. I forget. It's another acronym. But you know, it's like you know, you're starting to get carried away by your thoughts, like to the point where like you're really getting agitated or, you know, extremely
yeah.
distressed, you know,
Oh, yeah.
like on your
Yep.
on your way to like a serious panic attack, you know, not like, oh my
Right.
gosh, I'm panicking, but like not able to breathe, and like you pinch your hand because that reminds you, oh, I'm here, I'm someone with a hand, I'm in this moment, or something like that.
Snaps you right back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably could have used that today.
It's a rough one, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Having kids is so hard.
Oh,
It's so hard.
yes, it is. Especially when you have kids from 27 down to 3.
Is that what you have?
Yes.
Wow.
So, like, all right, I've already been through this, and then it's like, oh, nope, no, you're
Yeah.
gonna start over. Absolutely, you're starting over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But you must get so much better at it as you get older.
I don't know. You have to wait a couple
Super
years and ask her.
Super
Oh, you might be able to ask her
confident.
now. I don't know.
I just feel like no one can ruffle you like your kid.
Oh boy.
You know, like you can be totally cool with adults, you know, like, hey, that's your problem, buddy, or whatever. But then your kid says something and it just gets you.
Yeah,
It
you're
just
like,
gets ya. Yeah.
Really?
Just-
I don't.
Do you have some kids?
I have one, and he's my best friend. He's the best. He's the greatest thing.
How old is he?
He's 14.
Mm.
Yeah, and we don't. He's just a great kid. I don't have to argue with him or.
Well, for those of us
Chase
with
him.
less than great kids.
No. I'm not.
I was
saying
sitting
that.
over here like,
This is-
wow, my kids suck.
My kid is like great minus.
Yeah. Yeah, less than great.
Yes.
When he's in a mood, it's the worst that happens is he's short with his answers, or he just says okay a bunch, and I say something like, I'm just trying to help you, and you're kind of hurting my feelings or something like that, and then he feels really bad.
That's
those are the
powerful
type of-
language, though.
Yeah, those are the type of
Yeah.
communications we have. We don't have, I read this book early on called Scream Free Parenting.
You sound like you read lots of books, but go on.
I read lots of audiobooks.
Nice.
I listen to a lot of books.
I listen to a lot of books too. It's easier.
So-
You can drive.
So much easier. So anyway, it was about making life's consequences teach instead of your, artificial consequences imposed by you. Like, don't do this because you're going to make daddy mad. No, don't do this because that's not really appropriate.
Wait,
You
so
know?
that's like your kid's like, I don't want to wear shoes, and you're like, fine, and then you go for the walk. And then they learn like, oh shoot,
Yeah,
I
shoulda
guess I
wore
do
shoes.
want
I should.
shoes.
Damn, my feet are killing.
Like,
Right, but
Oh,
but,
well.
but before that point, I would say like, I'm the father, and I'm supposed to watch out for you, and I'm trying to teach you that you're gonna hurt your feet, so you probably should wear the shoes. I would really appreciate it if you wore the shoes. And if he's insistent, then like, okay, have fun.
Right, then you grab the shoes though, right? You
Yes.
stick them in your back pocket.
Yeah, because if not, you're
That's
gonna
what I
have
do
to
with
carry
my
them.
kid. That's what I
That's
do with him.
Yeah,
exactly
you're gonna have to carry them. It's like, all right,
Like, okay,
you don't want to
fine.
wear them, but let's bring them anyways.
Yeah, my daughter never wants a coat. Like,
Just
okay,
in case.
fine,
Yeah.
fine. Just
I'm
think-
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good thing I brought your coat.
You know, it's always like when you're trying to do something to like amuse them. You know, like you're
Yeah.
all excited because you're taking them to the science museum or some other thing that you think is so great, and they
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
they're like, meh,
right.
meh.
I'm always like, what do you want to do? He's like, nah, I watch YouTube videos. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Are you gonna take him to? Is he in 8th grade?
He's going into high school. He's going into 9th grade next year.
You gonna go
North.
take him to see that Bo Burnham
No.
movie? 8th grade. It's supposed to be amazing.
What is it?
Bo Burnham. He's like that comic who became a comic.
Oh,
when
I
he was like
think I saw.
He's so funny.
I think I saw a preview of that.
So he made this movie about being in 8th grade, but like with social media because it's
Yes.
different now. It's like this
Oh,
whole
wow.
yeah, and it's supposed to be an amazing movie. I can't wait to see. I haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah, I saw someone else
That's interesting.
talking about it, and they said it was great.
yeah, like
Sounds good.
he really captures like the
Yeah, because it's
experience.
an awkward time, and you
and
know,
if you're living the whole thing performatively, like
yeah,
on your
Right.
social
Yeah,
media, 'cause
exactly.
you have
Social
to
media,
now.
yeah.
You, have
You
to
gotta get
have
the
it,
likes.
or you're nobody. Yeah,
you got to get the
Well,
likes, you
I've
got to get the
talked-
follows.
I've talked to my
Yeah.
son about that, and I've told him, there's a thing called social media depression, and what happens is you're comparing your normal life to everyone else's snapshots of their best moments in their
highlight
life.
reel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
So it's you can't really go by that.
I seen something last week about this girl, and her entire life looked amazing through social media,
yeah,
but she was extremely depressed and ended up committing suicide.
it happens all the time.
And everyone was like,
yeah.
"But
Yeah.
look,
You know, it happens all the
Right.
time, which is why I love when celebrities will put up a post. Like Lena Dunham, I mean, she's controversial, but she does these posts where, like she shows herself at a time when she was like her most skinny, her most made up, on the cover of magazines because of her incredible weight loss, getting lots of positive attention for looking great.
yep,
And a picture
Right.
of herself now, disheveled, a little heavy, but like talks about the difference in her mindset.
yeah,
Like,
Oh,
probably
yeah.
feels
you
100
can't
times
see
better."
this, but I'm a happy person.
Yeah,
Like I'm a happy
Right.
person today. I'm able to deal with things. I'm not in constant pain. I'm not like living on a diet of
yeah.
coffee and pills and stuff.
I'm not trying to make everyone think that something
Yeah.
other than I
Right.
am,
Right.
and life's so much easier
Yeah.
when that happens.
It's so tricky though because kids aren't good at boundaries, right? Like, do you limit your son's time on social medias or like just on
doesn't-
Screen
screens?
time.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's so
That's
easy.
a big thing,
I don't
and I
limit-
just learned about that.
I don't limit the screen time.
You don't have to.
He's very good, but he uses a lot of screen time, but he doesn't do social media. But his whole thing is computers. He's really good with computers, and that's what he likes to do, and
Yeah,
that's probably what he's going to do for a living. So I don't really get into that too much. I do talk to him a little bit about it, but
yeah.
like I said, the whole
I had just learned about that.
what's that screen
that-
time limiting?
Depending on how much screen time your kid has,
Yeah.
it can completely affect their brain at certain ages.
Yeah, more for younger kids. Really.
Yes, younger kids.
Yeah, the
Oh,
developing
no.
brain.
Developing. Yeah,
Up to 7, we did, when I was there, I was living there before, and we definitely did limit his time in front of the TV
yeah.
because it was TV, and it's like, mind-numbing.
Sit there like,
I mean, it's
Yeah.
better than nothing. Like they are learning. They're being exposed to things and learning,
Yes.
especially if you choose your programs well.
Mm.
But they're not engaging.
my daughter learned how to talk British by watching Peppa Pig.
Adorable.
Dude,
That is so
when she
cute.
first started talking, that she talked, "Hello, George."
That is that is really
And
cute.
we were like, "What?" No, you just got to stop watching Peppa because she sounded like she was from Britain.
That reminds me.
Kind of awesome.
Reminds me if I went to this baby expo at the expo center, and I bought this CD that's supposed to teach the infant Spanish.
Oh,
you put them in front of the thing.
Sure.
Monsana. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. I played.
Why didn't it work? He doesn't even speak a word of Spanish.
We played classical music for my daughter when she was a baby.
Oh yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah, but they say that is a good thing because they
They do
become
say
familiar with famous melodies. and
I know.
Yeah.
I know of a person who his father put headphones on his mother's belly every day.
Yeah.
Every day, and this kid is an amazing musician.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's
That's
actually
interesting.
our outro music.
Oh, the outro music. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
Nice.
so cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, so did you go through any treatment program to get sober, or did you just do meetings?
That's a great question. So I spent 5 days at McLean Hospital. And when I went
Oh.
there, it was because I was depressed and suicidal and unstable to the point where, like, my daughter had to spend some long days at daycare, even though, like, I wasn't working. So I went there on a Monday morning. I was, like, not going to talk about the weed. But, of course, the first thing that happened when I got there was this woman was like, you should just tell them everything. Like, I used to smoke weed every day, and I just told them, and I'm like, God damn it, I might have to tell them about this.
Well, so you were holding that in reserve so that you could do it.
Of
still.
course, because I
Right.
thought that I was
Wasn't the
suffering
problem.
emotionally. Like, I really thought that getting high every day was like my best case scenario. I was like, I'm just born sensitive. I'm more sensitive than other people. I'm in so much emotional pain. This is the best I can do. And I've tried antidepressants. They didn't work. So I need this.
Well, weed in general just makes you so introspective, you know, just think in your own head, thinking of your stuff. For me, it did. I have to say, you know.
And you live in a fantasy world. They call it like a privately defined world. Like, I did, you know, it was me and my plants, and I would, like, miss my friends, and I would call them and, like, you know, be disconnected. It was just, yeah, you know, it was weird. So I spent a couple days at McLean, and it was the first days I'd put together sober, and, like, you know, since my daughter was 3 weeks old. That was when I started smoking again, when she was 3 weeks old.
And how old was she now?
4. So she was 4, and I was there on Thanksgiving, and my husband came over with her. He drove down to see me at McLean. You know, like, they left the family dinner early to come see me, and I saw them sober for the first time in, like, years. And, you know, I looked at them like that, and I just saw, like, how scared my husband was, but how much he loved me. And I saw how confused my daughter was and how much she loved me. And I just realized, like, you know what? I can't do this to them again. Like, I can't need them to come back to McLean on another holiday. And while I was there, I was talking to other people there, and they were all talking about how, like, they'd been to McLean a bunch of times, and that when they got out of here, they were definitely going to stop drinking and taking pills, but we all needed our weed for our anxiety, and, like, it's pretty healthy anyway. It's just like kale. You know, like, I mean, people were saying
like
crazy shit, and when someone else says the crazy shit that you're thinking, suddenly you realize you sound crazy.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That
You're like,
combination
what?
of stuff, I was like, oh, this is my plan too, to leave and continue smoking. And I realized I should
Like
just give this a
kale.
chance. Yeah, right.
That's
Basically
fantastic.
a salad. Yeah. And it's so good for glaucoma. Not that any of us, like, have glaucoma.
Yeah,
Right.
gotta keep
You
that
know?
glaucoma away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if what
joint a
if
day keeps
chemotherapy
glaucoma
happens
away?
in my life? You know, I'll need to have a tolerance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, I as soon as I announced in group that, like, I was gonna go home and throw away all my paraphernalia and all my weed, they called me aside. They're like, all right, we're releasing you today.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's had a breakthrough.
Yeah,
Get rid of her.
They were basically like, cool. That's pretty much what you need to do. Yeah, they took me off all my antidepressants. I went home.
Wow. Wow.
And yeah, it took me a
So
few
they
days
did
to
all that
find
in 5
meetings.
days?
5 days. I went to a week of IOP. That's intensive outpatient.
Yeah.
I did that. While I was like, I went to a couple of NA meetings, and I just, you know, like, I was still pretty skittish. I probably didn't choose the right meetings. I went to one where, like, I just didn't find anyone who looked like me, and it was a lot of dudes on, like, motorcycles, and everyone was smoking cigarettes outside, and I just felt like it wasn't for me. And so I was bitching, like, audibly at my IOP, like, you know, there's no marijuana anonymous. And this woman was like, yeah, there is. And then I found it, and that was the thing for me. That was, like, the one where I found the people who had the similar story, and I was able to and I did everything. I got a sponsor. I went to every meeting they had.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, worked the steps.
It's interesting. So the Marijuana Anonymous.
Yeah, it's real.
Wow.
and it's there for you.
The only marijuana thing that I ever really knew about in the program was marijuana maintenance program.
Oh yeah, that's what everybody's
Which
on.
is like
Right,
the
exactly.
opposite of
Until
what
they
you're
get
talking
super
about.
old. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great, and I still go all the time. And yeah, they've got 12 questions to see if marijuana is a problem in your life. Has smoking pot stopped being fun? Do you ever get high alone? Are your friends and relations determined by your marijuana use? They've got 12 questions. I answered yes to every single one.
Yeah, just like
Right.
the pamphlets.
Yeah,
in the other
totally. It's
meetings.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of potheads who got together and were like, I don't want to have to say alcoholic at an AA meeting, so let's make marijuana anonymous.
Huh.
They did it in like 1989, I think. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah.
I'm not their
Well, 'cause
spokesperson.
I've belonged to Heroin Anonymous,
Mhm.
Drug Addicts Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, you name it.
See, my
it's all the same.
point was
Yeah,
I
it
always
is.
identified as an alcoholic because that's the one that I would say that I wasn't in the beginning when I first started going my first detox. The first thing I did was crack a beer when I got home because, like, I got a heroin problem. They're trying to tell me I'm an alcoholic. Screw them. You know
Watch
what I mean?
me drink this one beer.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
See?
I can drink. I'm a dope head. I want to quit doing dope, not alcohol.
Yeah.
So when I finally did get sober, it was important to remind myself that it's all the same. It's all the same.
Yeah, and it's funny because me and Tom went to the same treatment center, and way back in the day,
Yeah.
if you were a drug addict, you could earn the privilege to drink.
That's
Right.
hilarious.
And this
Well,
is
that's in
in
the 60s
treatment.
or something, right?
This is
the program
in
we
treatment.
went to. Yeah.
Yeah, at one point it was co-ed. When we were there, it was just male.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's
But
wise,
yeah,
probably.
if you could go on
Yeah.
pass and have a few beers if you were a junkie.
That's so funny. It's like there's still one hospital you can smoke cigarettes at, like Bournewood, I think. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, most of them though you can't. They're like, no, guys, no.
Yep, we're not giving you lighters.
Yeah, no, we're not. That's
You
not
can
what
go.
you're here
They
to
can.
do.
They bring you outside to smoke, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
not inside.
they were always. They always. I mean, don't they? Most of them bring you outside to smoke? No.
Some of them,
You just can't.
suck it up, Buttercup. No,
Yeah.
no.
They give
no
you a
butts.
patch or some gum
Yeah.
or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Because
Yeah.
Wow.
most hospitals you can't even smoke on the grounds.
Yeah, because of all the oxygen tanks. And
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was told. I was always told that they have to let people smoke because it's just too much. They're trying to give up booze and drugs and
yeah, that's a good point.
it's
Yeah.
just too much to make them stop smoking too. But
But they say it's one of the hardest ones to quit.
cigarettes.
Yeah, that's what they
Just
say. I
start
don't
shooting
know.
dope. You'll be all set.
Yeah, so that's our
You wanna
message
quit
for
smoking
today.
much? Catch a heroin habit. Yeah.
All you people struggling
too
out
busy.
there, hope you're listening.
Yeah.
Too busy getting sick, shitting your pants.
So, what's going on now?
What's going on now?
in Amanda's life?
So now I'm at this exciting point in my life where I'm like pursuing creative things that I never had the guts to pursue when I was younger, and instead I like just got high all the time and did stuff that I was good at right away.
Fantastic.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no, I took the storytelling workshop with Megan, and that led me to some opportunities to get on stage, and I loved it. I think all addicts should try to get on stage because then you get that feeling of like everybody loves me. Maybe I'm worth something, you know.
Yeah.
It's like this is it. I'm home.
Cool.
I told
that
this
sounds
funny
good.
story, and I got such good responses from it, and I just loved it. I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to be a comic. I'm obsessed with comedy. I love to laugh.
Yeah.
You know, like that's
Laughter's huge.
that's my angle in most conversations. It puts everybody at ease.
Yeah.
So not yeah. So now I'm
good.
pursuing that. I just had my first showcase. I did 3 minutes of stand up on Monday night.
Oh,
Awesome.
congratulations.
Thanks.
That's fantastic.
Where'd you do that?
I did that at Improv Boston, which is in Cambridge. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah. Improv Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Improv Boston in Cambridge.
in Cambridge. Yeah.
Didn't
it's
they
a great
have
place.
a improv place over by the Charles Playhouse at one point?
They have an improv place in Boston called Improv Asylum.
Yes,
I've
yes,
been to
yes.
that one.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it's great.
Yeah,
The Comedy Connection. Is that still around?
I don't know,
You remember that? No?
I don't know.
It's too long ago.
but
Sorry.
yeah, Improv Asylum is pretty cool. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've got a ton of neat shows. And
yeah, like they'll just, all right, throw out a word.
Yes.
You know,
So I'm doing
and
that next. I'm taking an
it's
improv
like
class.
it's like Drew Carey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Dude, I used to love watching that show. Those
You'd
guys
probably
were
be
great.
at
Oh,
it. You'd
yeah.
probably be
Those
great
guys
at
were
it.
great.
Whose line is it anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah.
Yes, but
I
that's
love
what it's
that.
like at Improv Asylum.
Yeah.
It's-
Like, they'll say, all right, give us a place. And
Yes,
boom.
and everything is yes, and
Uh-huh.
you know,
Right,
and you just
right.
come up with something, and it's all about like being in that moment, I guess. Like,
well,
I don't know, I've never done it. I'm starting a class next week.
Well, see, give yourself the right to be silly, right? And,
Yes.
You know, and don't worry about people's opinions too much, right? I know it's very
Yeah.
hard, but
Well, it's
I
a
mean,
super
that's-
supportive place. So if you want to do it, that's like a place to do it because like they're all about just support. Nobody's there to be like, get off the stage, you know,
Yeah.
like they're
Get the hook.
yeah,
hook.
exactly.
isn't this the part where the big cane comes out?
Yeah,
It's
get
pretty-
out
it's
of
pretty
here.
supportive. You know, and then it's also just when you're in recovery, it's about one day at a time. So I'm still one day at a time, make my phone
That's right.
calls, go to a meeting when I can, try to be patient and present with my daughter, try to be there for my friends, you know, try to accept life on life's terms, all of that.
LOLTerms.com.
Yep.
Yes. Yes. Look at that face.
There's a face that's
Oh,
like
goodness.
sugar coated.
Oh, yes. And I took the ice cream away a while ago, so
so
I have no
cute.
idea what it is now.
So cute.
The women's meeting is slipping or some candy
Yes.
or something.
Yeah, they are.
She's going to be all jacked up.
Can't resist that face.
So, is
That's
there
a fantastic
any
show,
way
by
of
the way.
people getting a hold of you or anything you want to plug or...
Oh, I don't have any shows to plug, but if you ever want to see me, you can find me at the. I try to go as often as I can to the Thunder Bar open mic at Wonder Bar on Thursday evenings. at 5.
Thunder Bar at
Yeah,
Wonder Bar.
Thunder. I mean, it's a bar, so
Wunderbar.
if you're at a stage in your program where you can't be at a bar, don't go.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
But if you're like me and you're comfortable asking the hot bartender to make you a seltzer after a seltzer after a seltzer, then come on down.
I actually seen... What did I see the other day? Recovery Fest?
Oh, that's happening in Situate. Right?
Really?
No, this is in... It's going to be in Rhode Island.
Oh, cool.
And it's
I
going to
don't
be
know
a
about this one.
completely sober music festival. No, like no alcohol, no drugs. I think it was Macklemore.
Oh,
was
nice.
throwing
Really?
it out there with a couple other
Really?
bands. Yeah,
That's
It's
a big
the
festival.
first one ever. Yeah,
For a big
Wow.
festival.
So
yeah,
it's
I've never
actually
heard
where
of
the
that.
Pawtucket Red Sox play. That's where it is.
Oh yeah.
I'll
yeah.
have to check that out.
I
That
know. I
sounds
wanted to
great.
buy tickets. I was like,
Yeah.
this seems cool. I think I
Yeah.
might want to go to this.
A big festival. I know they're having one in Situate, like at Bullman Marine. They're having like Recovery Rocks.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's just
that
a
would be-
little, you know.
That would be more my style.
yeah.
Can I do it in an evening and then get ready and be at work tomorrow?
I think
Yeah.
this
That's
one's
about
like
what I
at
do.
August 20 something. Check it out. South Shore Peer Recovery.
Nice.
.org.
Nice.
SSPR. Yeah, they're great down there. If you're in the South Shore and you can't make it to this awesome recovery center in Quincy, go to South Shore Peer Recovery down by the waterfront in Situate. It's a great place, great people. They're open
awesome.
all the time. They've got free yoga,
Really,
free acupuncture.
really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They've got some cool programs.
I might have to go check
And free
that out.
Free
Storytelling.
acupuncture.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wednesday nights.
I should go down there and check that out. Yeah.
It's beautiful too. It's like right on the water.
Oh, I bet.
Mm-hmm. It's really nice.
I bet.
Be a pin cushion on the water. I like
Yes.
Yeah. You guys have been delightful, by the way.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So have
thanks
you.
for having me
So have
on.
you.
So have
yeah,
you.
it
I really
was very
enjoyed
fun.
this.
It's getting there. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask everyone again to subscribe to our podcast on LOLTerms.com. We're
Or
on
on-
iTunes.
yeah.
We're on Google Play, Stitcher.
So let's say a person was feeling just like so amazing and they wanted to like donate money to you. Do you have like a Patreon or something?
No,
or-
a Patreon. We
Yeah.
don't have that yet. I think we will though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, we do have a business page
but
that
we have a business page.
someone
yeah.
could
Yeah.
contact us through or through this because
Right.
this they donate the space so we could do this.
Yeah.
And basically Tom has paid for everything that we use.
yeah.
So,
So- But I mean, if it helps one person, it's all worth
Absolutely.
it,
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Plaid Cornell over here bought these microphones.
No, he's Cornell.
Oh,
I'm
right.
Paisley
I'm
Cornell.
Plaid Merchant.
Plaid Merchant.
Merchant, yes.
Sorry, guys. Plaid Merchant over here got these amazing microphones.
Yeah.
I just don't want to stop talking into it. I love to hear myself in my headphones. Like, yeah, it's me.
Right. All right. So yeah, join the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Check us out. Give us a like on the business page. Would appreciate it.
We
And
would.
If anyone needs help or, is looking to be on the show as well,
Yeah.
message us.
Message
You know,
us.
always
hit us
looking
up
for guests.
in the group. All
So-
right. So that's a wrap.
All right.
Okay.
Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Peace.
Solid Bowie out.
Yeah. Peace.
Excellent.
So fun, you guys.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you. You did a great job.
Thanks. It was super fun. You guys are easy with the quality conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of like take their own form. Oh,
Yeah.
this one's still going too. Bye, guys.
Yeah, we don't have any subscribers on